Hello, everybody out there, and happy first day of spring. And it's 40 degrees out here in Baltimore, so hooray for spring. And it's going to be 70 on Wednesday. Hooray for spring in Baltimore. It snowed yesterday, and last week it was in the 70s for like 3 days. I love Maryland weather. Not really. But anyway, this is Dylan Knows, my weekly video show I do here on the Google Plus. This week, I've got my lovely co-host for my list show, Geri Fletcher. Hey, Geri, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, Dylan?
Good. It's kind of interesting. It's the beginning of Holy Week for the Catholics. Palm Sunday was today, and the Palm Sunday Mass is always interesting because they come in, they read the Gospel first. Then they do the water thing, and you hold up your palms that you get. They do the water thing, and then they go and they do the procession and the processional song, and then they do the readings. They do a little bit of a prayer, and then they do the readings. So the first reading, and second reading, and then they do the Passion of the Christ, which is a 4-page gospel. So they have to have 3 people do it. They have the priest, the deacon, and one of the other liturgical ministers up there do it. So for 20 minutes, we read the the Passion of the Christ, and then it goes back to normal Mass, communion, and all that stuff. And then at the end, and I totally forgot about this, but this is really cool. All right, at the very end, after the priest blesses you, the lights go out, and you hear a drum as they proceed out. It's really neat.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I forgot that, but I brought my palms here.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Yay! So, happy Holy Week to all the Catholics out there. We've got it's a big week for us Catholics because we've got Maundy Thursday and Good Friday and Easter Saturday and Easter Sunday and Easter Monday, and there's all kinds of stuff going on Monday through Wednesday. You're supposed to go do all the sacraments, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I should, but I'm not. Anywho, but next week being Easter, and my show's usually on Sunday, I will not be doing a show on Sunday. I probably won't be doing one on Saturday either because we'll be going down to my in-laws' house to spend the night. We haven't done that in a while, so we're going to spend Easter night and my Easter Saturday into Sunday at my in-laws' house.
Very nice.
So Good Friday night, I probably will be doing a quick show. It'll be a solo show, just talking about Easter and stuff like that. I always like to do one around Easter as well. So I do have a show. I'm aiming for Friday night. So everybody out there, you'll get your Dylan Knows fix. The one viewer I have, which I think is Scott Troutman. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Hi, Scott.
But yeah. But so that'll be fun, and that'll be interesting. And then we're getting into April, and then what's really special about this week is I get a 4-day week this week. I have a 3-day weekend, so I'm very happy.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's right. It's Good Friday. And the kids, I'm sure, have off because my guys have off. Yes. They
stay. Cool. Their spring break starts on Friday. So what's going to happen is my company closes. Not all companies close on Friday, but mine, they've always decided they wanted to. So mine closes on Friday, Good Friday. And then the kids have their first day of spring break. So I watch them. Dawn's company has a floating holiday policy. If she wants to, she could take the day off and use one of her floating holidays. But if she decides to go in, because McCormick is still going to be running, if she decides to go in, she can use her floating holiday for another holiday or for an extra day off or something like that. If she's got to get the kids like a snow day or something like that. So it all works out in the end. So she's going to go to work for a little while. And the fact is, since I'll be at home with the kids, she can go in earlier than usual. So she'll go in like at 6 a.m. and she'll be done by 2. So she'll be back in the afternoon. So she'll be fine. And then we'll do some. It's supposed to be nice, actually. From what I think of the weather, I think it's gonna be nice. I think we're going to the zoo. We haven't gone to the zoo in a little while. Let me see. What's the Friday? Friday, 57 and thunderstorms. Never mind. Maybe we'll go see. Maybe we'll go see a movie. Speaking of,
take them to see Zootopia?
No, that's the one we're probably going to go see on Friday. Yeah, I've heard it's really good. So we're going to go probably, if it is going to be thunderstorms and 57 on Friday, we'll go to the library because the movie theater is like right near the library. So we'll go to the library, we'll drop all the books, get new books because they're due on Easter Saturday anyway.
Oh, there you go.
And, go to the movies right there and go see Zootopia, I think. Because I sure as hell am taking them to see Batman vs. Superman because even I don't want to see that damn movie. But that's for another show. That's for my comic show. Me and MJ.
Yeah, we're not lamenting today.
me and MJ have already tore that movie apart, and eventually I'll have to watch it so I can actually prove and say, look, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
But or I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I will gladly eat crow. I'll be fine. But you know what?
I don't think you're wrong.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Because none out of my 3 boys, nobody is like, ooh, I want to go see it. They have like zero desire. That's very telltale sign there. Yeah.
However, we are talking movies, and this is our list show. So I'm doing something different today, and this you can blame on Gary Harris, one of my friends, and one of the a minor snark gal. He follows a few of us, and he's actually going to be at our Snark Stock in 2016 in Baltimore. Which Jerry, after the show, I need to talk to you about something about Snark Stock.
Okay.
I could have just written that to her, but I want to tell everybody out there, Jerry and I are going to have a secret conversation about Snark Stock, and you're not going to be able to hear it. So,
and I'm bringing Myrna down. You knew that, right? Because she's going to drive to my house.
Oh yes,
and then we'll carpool down together that way. Because it's like almost 3 hours. So
that makes sense. So that'd be good. So Gary mentioned like a couple weeks ago, I was having trouble figuring out what I want to do for the list show in March, and he suggested, how about maybe like movie themes or television themes? I was like, okay, that's a neat idea, and I figured, with music, it's really there's not much you can really say about it,
Right.
So that's why I said, why don't we do top 10 movie themes, and I guess basically talk about why we like them or why or whatever, and whatever, and then do the top TV themes. Okay, so we'll do movie 1 through 10 first, and then we'll do TV 1 through 10. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, and actually, you'll be proud of me, Jerry. I actually did some research. I have the conductors of every single one of mine on here.
I have almost all of mine. Yeah, some of my movie ones are missing, but I did all the TV ones because I was like, you can't talk about the song without even, acknowledging who wrote it or, sang it or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll first start with the top 10 movie themes.
All right.
And I will also tell you this too, Jerry. This is my show, so I cheated a little bit. So.
Uh-oh.
You'll see, though. You're probably going to give me a dirty look, but anyway, it's all right. Your number 10. What's your number 10 movie?
All right. My number 10 was a famous movie in the 80s by the ever-famous Irene Cara. And I remember seeing her perform this song on a show called Solid Gold. And that is the theme to Fame, which also became a big hit song. And, as being like a little girl and, the song Fame, it was like, it encouraged everyone, like, you can get out there and pursue your dreams. And it sort of was very fitting for the age that I was, probably like, 9, 10 years old, I'm going to guess, because I don't have the year right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Fame was always like, it comes on and it sort of brings you back to, being a kid, or at least brings me back to being a kid. So that is my number 10.
That's awesome. And I'm going to tell you right now, I made this decision on my own. We didn't really discuss this. Whatever movie themes we like, all of my movie and TV themes are instrumental. So
and
it's
some
actually
of mine are too. Yeah.
But no, it's cool though, because I there are a ton of great ones that have lyrics and stuff like that too. And Fame is absolutely one of those. And the reason what makes these themes so iconic or whatever is because you hear the song, be it via singing or the music instrumental, whatever, and you're immediately transported. You know exactly what it's for, where it's from. If you ever saw the movie or the TV show or whatever, you automatically get your mind sent back to there. And hell, you probably even sing along with it sometimes too, because I tell you what, I can sing along with some of the songs. So Fame's a good one. Now, my number 10, I cheated because I made my list and I had so many more that I wanted to do. But I wanted to keep it within the 10 movie theme frame. So I doubled up a couple of them. I only doubled up two. And
so you pretended to have a tie.
Yeah. Well, one of them is actually pretty interesting connection. This one is totally out there. The only connection is it's done by the composer. And this composer is by far the greatest movie composer of all time.
I know.
No way. There's no way you can try to tell me there's other ones. No, John Williams is by far the absolute greatest movie theme writer of all time. And my number 10 is two of his, Jurassic Park and Harry Potter. Now, they're not connected, I know, and The other ones I have is connected in a way, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this one, they're both John Williams iconic scores. It also, John Williams has been around since basically the 70s. I mean, even the 60s. I think he did some stuff in the 60s, but his most iconic stuff has been in the 70s, and obviously we'll be talking about a lot of these. So 70s and 80s, he had a lot of them. But this, in turn, having Jurassic Park shows that his continued ability to create iconic score in the 1990s with Jurassic Park, and then again in the 2000s with the Harry Potter films, the Harry Potter themes. And the thing is, whenever you hear those, first couple notes of both of those themes, you automatically get transported to the world it is. Jurassic Park's, it was so hugely popular that this Jurassic World that did not have John Williams' score used the iconic score because everybody knows this score. He didn't do the score for the movie, but they used it because it's so iconic. And it's the, and I almost came this close, Geri, to playing all the scores on my phone, but because I've had my issues with YouTube before, I'm afraid that if I did that, this episode would never see the light of day. So I'm not going to do that. But you all know what it is. I mean, Jurassic Park and Harry Potter are both iconic theme songs. If I'd said, "Hey, the Jurassic Park theme," you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, the Harry Potter theme, you know exactly what I'm thinking about. And both of them are so iconic. But the main reason why I group them together like that is because it shows you that John Williams can continue to make iconic songs even when he's getting close to the end of his career. And I hope he never ends his career, but the guy's got to be in his upper 70s by now. I mean, he's older, and he's had a big career. I think he was the lead conductor, like the Boston Pops, for a few years also. So I mean, he's had a big career, but he's still is able to create these iconic scores for these movies that will continue to last until after he passes away. So my number 10 is the combined Jurassic Park, Harry Potter.
Okay.
I cheat is my show.
I just like how you connected those two movies together.
I'm a bullshit artist, absolutely.
Yes. You said it, I didn't say it.
I know I am. That's why I'm okay with saying it. What's your number 9, Geri?
My number 9 evokes an image of people running down the beach in slow motion. And it's from the early 70s. And it was done by, I guess they were a group, or like a classical group called Vangelis. I should have researched more about them. Anyway, it's the theme song of Chariots of Fire. Now, who as a kid, or especially our generation, didn't do that whole running down the beach and the song, and you know what I'm talking about. And great movie and great music to accompany the movie.
Yeah, and the other thing about these iconic scores is that people use them for comedic effects sometimes.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember. Didn't he use it he used it. Remember, they used it in Mr. Mom, where Michael Keaton was doing the race course or the obstacle course with his boss, and everyone's like saying you can't win. The boss has got to win because like that. But they're doing this whole race thing, and it's that Chariots of Fire theme song comes.
Yeah. I think they're like on tricycles, right? Like
exactly. Yes.
Some little course. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there's also, from what I recall, also they did it in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action version.
Oh, really?
He was picked as the jubilation guy, and they were celebrating jubilation with him, and it was like a competition. He was running, it was a potato sack race and stuff like that. So it's very iconic, and it's so funny also. There's a new website out that my friend Geri again got me to. It's called Cinema Sins. It's on YouTube. It's a channel on YouTube called Cinema Sins. And what they do is they take a movie and they tear it apart in and find all the mistakes and make little comments about it.
Funny.
And it's actually pretty funny. I mean, it's a lot of my favorite movies are up there, but I've watched them tear it apart, and the guy who narrates it is so funny. And I bring this up because I was watching one the other day. It was it was called Everything Wrong with the Two Towers. And at the end, after he does all the tearing apart, he has like about a minute where he takes little segments from the movie and dubs over other music other or the actors' lines from other movies
Mhm.
to make it kind of silly. And there's a scene in Lord of the Rings: Two Towers where there's one of the orcs is running with a flaming torch to blow up the Minas Tirith, and so they showed that scene with him running, and they did the Chariots of
There's a
Fire theme
fire.
song. So once again, yes, a
Yeah.
very, very iconic, very, and as I said, what makes it iconic is that people use it all the time. You know,
That's true. Now that you're bringing up all these examples, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then number 9 for me.
Another cheat. Another cheat.
No, not another cheat. This one is, and you might like it. I don't know. I'm not making any intimations or anything like that, but it's the Godfather theme.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's that. Then
now that is a song. You know that's a song.
It is a song, but they also have taken the bits that when I was watching the stuff in the movie, it is a song, but they take the musical part of it, and that's what a lot of people think of it. Yes, it is a song, but
people don't know that it actually has lyrics.
Yeah, it does. It does have lyrics, and it's Nino Rota is the one who composed it, and I think was it David Davidson or something did the lyrics or something like that. I don't know. Somebody or Nino did. I don't know. All I know is that Nino Rota's name is like all over the place on that one. So it is, but it's when you hear it, it evokes mafia stuff because The Godfather is about the mafia, and once again, it's so iconic that they use it in other movies. 16 Candles, for example, when the father is going to dinner with his daughter's fiance and their family, who we are told might be connected somehow. They're at the dinner, and the music is playing in the background while they're talking. So once again, you're supposed to realize the joke is that everyone thinks that the fiance and his family is connected to the mafia, and they're going to be marrying into this Samantha Baker's family, who is totally regular and normal. So they're going to be connected to the mafia. But the way they want to make that joke and put the exclamation point on the joke is, let's play the Godfather theme during the dinner, so that everybody makes the connection. It's like, oh shit, they're with the Godfather. They're part of the mafia, and that's the joke. So that's my number 9 is the Godfather.
That's funny.
Your number 8?
My number 8 is John Williams, which, like you said, he's going to appear a lot. And the reason why I have this one as number 8 is because when I was little, again, it's so funny how everything's from when you were little. Every year it would come on TV, and it was like this big event to like sit and watch it. And that was the theme to Superman. So the very first, I'm talking Christopher Reeve, that Superman. Just love it because, we pop popcorn, and back then there was no DVR or VCR, so you knew when it was on, and if you missed it, you had to wait a whole another year. So it was like this big event to gather in the family room and watch the movie, and I loved it. And then we were allowed; it was always on a school night too, but we were allowed to stay up to watch it and just be very tired the next day.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and once again, you just have to say Superman theme. Everybody knows this. Dun, 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 and that to me is what is one of the main problems with this new Superman Batman and this new Superman series, stuff like that, is Superman is supposed to be for hope and light and stand for, good and everything like that, and goodness and light and stuff like that, where the people who are running it now want to make him like Batman. They give him the darker clothes, and make him darker. He destroys things, kills people, because Batman is dark and Batman's hugely popular. So why don't we make Superman that way? No, Superman isn't that way. This is how Superman is. And Christopher Reeve's theme is exactly, I'm not Christopher Reeves, John Williams' theme for Superman movie is exactly what you should be thinking about when you are casting or making a Superman movie, is that theme.
Yeah, it's like a positive march almost, the way the cadence of it.
And it's funny you mentioned it because my number 8 is another one of my combined ones, but it's Superman. It's the Superman theme. It's the Batman theme by Danny Elfman from the 1989 Batman film, which is another one of those that Superman Batman's coming out on Friday. I figured to get them connected. So the Superman theme's by John Williams, as Geri mentioned, and Batman theme is the Danny Elfman one, not the one from the Christian Bale Batman, but the resurgence of Batman happened in 1989 when Tim Burton released his Batman movie, and Danny Elfman's score is one of the main reasons for that. Danny Elfman's Batman score, if you've never heard it, is one of my absolute favorite scores of all time, and I think it's up there as one of the best scores out there because it evokes, again, the character of Batman being dark and broody, but a little bit of, there's a little bit of light to it because that's what he's doing. He's trying to make change in a dark area through his means of, beating up bad guys.
Right.
And so the Batman theme is, while it's dark, it does a very dun 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 dun, and then it starts going dun 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 dun. dun. So it's really cool. And what I think I might do actually, Jerry, is I might make a playlist up and just release it out there.
That'd be fun. I can do that too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you do it? Because I actually haven't been writing your other ones down. So, that's my last connected one for the rest of the show. So, but I figured Superman, Batman, I had to get them both in there because the funny thing was, and this is the funny thing, as of this past Friday, I was still missing 2 slots. So I thought, okay, let me for movie themes. I was like, okay, let me look around and see if I can sit down and actually, see if I can find something. So I found a couple of sites that gave their lists for movie themes. I was like, oh man, I like those. So I added them all there. I was like, oh wait, I have 12. So I better switch some stuff around. So that's why I did that. So that was my number 8, the Superman Batman combo.
Cool.
You're number 7.
Yeah, now that you say that, I wonder if when the movie comes out on Friday, if they're going to create a Superman Batman theme or merge them together or like take turns playing the 2 themes. I wonder how they're going to handle the music.
Yeah.
It
might be interesting to see.
All right.
I liked the score. I like scores. In fact, in college, I had a radio show. I had 2, and one of them was my movie soundtracks and scores. So I actually basically played, songs from from movie soundtracks. So I played the ones you talked about already and the ones you're probably talking about already. I played them on my show, and I played the ones that I'm talking about here as well, with the exception of the Harry Potter one, because at that time when I was in college, Harry Potter hadn't come out yet. So that was the only one I didn't play, but I did a Jurassic Park one. I'd done a Godfather one before. So, that's part of my, and then what the movie scores were and soundtracks were interesting because you would have in the 80s, especially, was the one where they would do the Irene Cara fame and stuff like that, where they would have theme songs written by popular artists of the time for the soundtracks. And so they'd release a soundtrack, and the soundtrack would be hugely popular. Right. Top Gun's a good example. They mixed theirs up. They did a combination of score and popular songs, Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins, Take My Breath Away, Berlin, stuff like that. But they also would throw in Harold Faltermeyer's themes. Right. And but then once the theme, the score itself started getting big, they released a regular soundtrack with just the musicals with lyrics and people singing, and they sometimes did an instrumental one also. And Batman, the Danny Elfman Batman, was one of the first ones I ever bought. And I absolutely, I still love it to this day. It is a phenomenal score. And if you've never sat down and listened to the whole score of the original Batman 1989 Danny Elfman score, it's well worth it. So, sorry, I went on my little tangent. Number 7 for you there, Jerry.
My number 7 again is I was a kid and they would play it once a year, and it was a big deal. And we would get Chinese food. So that actually also made it a big deal. Like these funny little memories. And it was performed by a woman you might have heard of named Judy Garland. And it was actually, the music was written by Harold Arlen, and the lyrics were by E.Y. Harburg, which is kind of cool to know because, you just automatically always just associate it with Judy Garland. And it was Over the Rainbow, sung by the little girl from Kansas, and Wizard of Oz. So Wizard of Oz had to get on the list just because,
it did, because because it
that song is a good song. And then throughout the movie, they play it instrumentally, like here and there. So it definitely follows through.
Which is great because, that's what a lot of these people who write the scores do. They create scores for characters. So you have Darth Vader's theme or Princess Leia's theme or Batman's theme and stuff like that. And then when there's a sequence where there's something going on and they've added some other background music, then it's like, oh, we got to focus on Darth Vader or focus on Luke. They'll play that theme as part of the whole thing. So you're absolutely right, because it is, again, iconic. And you start singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and automatically everyone is going to revert back to that because we grew up. We're basically the same age, so we grew up. We grew up doing the same stuff where The Wizard of Oz came out once a year. Yeah, it was before DVDs and before VCRs and stuff like that. So you would have when it came out. You make it a whole big family thing. You go down and you watch it, and you would have a great time, and it was great, and that's kind of now with the advent of DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that, and on demand, you don't really have that stuff anymore.
Right. It doesn't feel as special, because it's like they could just have what they want when they want it instead of being like this event.
Exactly.
I miss that aspect of it,
Because you kind of you kind of want to have your kids to experience sort of the same excitement you had when something like that was going to happen. And you see that old CBS special, the CBS, I was like, oh yeah, this is so great. And even now with the Christmas, the Christmas shows like Charlie Brown and Rudolph, they play it 50,000 times, and then you can also they have the DVDs available, so you could watch anytime you want. I mean, I remember there was a time when my kids were younger that into January, February, and March they wanted to keep watching Frosty. They liked it, so so we had them on on DVD. So it'd be like February 13th, day before Valentine's Day. It's like we want to watch Frosty. I was like, okay, there you go. It's a Christmas movie, but Valentine's Day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore though. But
nobody know what you mean. Yeah.
the point is just that you don't have that event anymore.
Right.
And it's a bit of a shame. I mean. Yeah, not much you can do about that, though, I suppose. I mean,
technology has changed.
So.
What's your number 7?
My number 7 is one of the most iconic horror themes, and you probably know what we're talking about. It's written by the film's director, Mr. John Carpenter, and it's the Halloween theme. Yes. I love the Halloween theme. Before, years ago, before I decided to become a grown-up, and I was just driving around my car, and I just got out of college and stuff like that, I would have CDs in my car, and I wouldn't listen to the radio. I wouldn't listen to the news, which I do now because I'm a boring adult now. So I want to listen to the news and see what's going on in the world because I don't have a newspaper anymore. So I listen to our news station on the way to work. But, I used to have, and I'm a huge holiday guy also. So every Halloween, October 1st, I grab my bag of Halloween CDs, put in my car, and just run through them. And I always came back to the Halloween theme because it is such a great theme. It builds such dread and horror, but it's very cool though, and it still gives me chills to this day to hear it because it's just such a great iconic horror theme song, and it's fantastic, and everyone knows what it is. So I mean, and it's always great. I mean, I've always wanted to get it as like the ringer for my phone.
I was surprised the ringtone. Yeah, you would think.
The thing is, I don't like uploading stuff. I don't like going and finding it and then uploading it because I don't know if I'm doing it right and stuff like that.
It's got to be there though.
Yeah. So that's my number 7 is the Halloween.
Awesome. Yeah. See, now I'm looking at it. I didn't really get any horror movie ones in there. All right. Well, my number 6, unfortunately I didn't write down the name of the composer, but it's by our oh gosh, I'm like screwing up. It is by a famous British spy, and it's James Bond. And like I said, I didn't write down anything on it. But
Geri, real quick, I have James Bond on my list. He's
awesome. Okay.
Henry Mancini is the.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah, there you go. It's a great Bond. It's a great theme, and it automatically brings you back to like the older James Bond. At least that's what I picture in my head. Remember the opening credits with sort of the cartoony and the silhouettes and the guns and the girls and the guy. It's just so very iconic. So.
Yeah, the oval that comes up over him and he shoots the gun and the blood comes down. Yeah. It is, and that's the thing is. That's iconic for James Bond is the theme, and everybody knows that theme also. Take that, YouTube. You can't do that to me now because I did it myself. I didn't borrow it from anyone else.
Are you still having that famous YouTube?
Yes, I am. I don't let it go, Geri. I don't. I've been a good boy. I've been a good boy. I haven't done anything for the last.
All right.
Sometimes it's just, but I think what's happening is now with the more recent Bonds, I think they might still have that theme in there because you got to have it. I've never really watched too many Bond films.
I know Skyfall had it like here and there throughout, like little implied parts of it. But I haven't seen the newest one, Spectre. I haven't seen that one yet.
And with the Bond films, you get the iconic theme, which is the one we're talking about, and then every Bond film also has to have a song that has the title in it in some form or another, and that's usually done by a popular artist at the time or whatever. So that in itself, you could probably make some cases for those themes, but the James Bond theme itself is iconic, and I'll tell you right now, it's number 3 on my list. So we'll get to that when I get number 3. But yeah, it is a classic. It is one once again that. As soon as you hear that, dun, 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 you know exactly what it is. And it's like, James Bond, cool. My number 6 is another one about an adventurer that as soon as you hear it, you know exactly who and what it is. Once again, it is done by the Lord God composer himself, John Williams. It is the Indiana Jones theme. Everyone knows the Indiana Jones themes. Yep, everyone knows the Indiana Jones. Yeah, everyone knows it, and it's again an iconic thing that exudes adventure and excitement and action and just And the funny thing is, even though it's in there, I never think of Indiana Jones and romance that much, because yes, the main romance was with him and Karen Allen in Raiders. He had somewhat kind of in Temple of Doom, but and that's what's great about the theme is that it doesn't really have like a love theme embedded in it, and he doesn't really have a love theme. It's adventure, it's excitement, it's what you want, and it's exactly what Spielberg and Lucas wanted when they created Indiana Jones. They wanted to make it that reminded them of their childhoods when they had those serials in the movie theaters, which had these adventure ones, Red Rocket or whatever the hell these people's names are. That would always end, they were black and white, would end on cliffhangers, and then you'd have to go to the movie theater next week to see what happens, and that's also what I kind of miss. Also, I kind of wish they would do those shorts again.
I forgot about those.
And what you could do is it would be a good way to introduce people to new filmmakers. You don't have to get famous filmmakers to do it. Get someone who's trying to get their big break. Let them make like a 10-part serial. 5 minutes each. It's 10 parts, 5 minutes. That's 50 minutes. That's almost an hour long. And and people go to the movie theaters anyway. I mean, you don't have to put it in front of a specific movie. You can put it in front of all the movies if you want to. And instead of showing these damn commercials,
I was just about to say that.
They're never going to, because that's how they make their money.
Commercials give them the money.
Yeah, but I think it would be fun. That way you can get some new. You can learn. You get some new filmmakers. You can also maybe get some new stories, and because Hollywood, we all know Hollywood is very good about they want to go back to the well. They do things over and over again. They reboot movies. They remake movies, and they tend to shy away from original stuff because they keep saying, well, we tried original movies before and they don't do well in the movie theaters because people don't want to see original and stuff. And, I can kind of see that. There are a lot of people who don't, but there are a lot of people that do. But at the same time, if you keep shooting the same stuff over and over again and releasing the same stuff over and over again, you're going to eventually not make money. Because, a lot of these remakes of films from the 80s and stuff like that, they haven't made a lot of money.
It starts to feel stale too.
Yeah, it does, because and yes, there's only so many stories you can do, but there are different ways you can go about the same story and do something differently. So, I wish they would do that again. But that's my number 6 is Indiana Jones.
Funny you should say that about doing something over again, but making it different the second time around. Because my number 5. Back in the 80s was about 4 male ghost hunters, and pretty soon a version of it's going to come out with 4 female ghost hunters, and the song was done by Ray Parker Jr., and that was Ghostbusters. And the reason why I wanted to get that one on the list is because Ghostbusters in of itself was just very 80s, very campy, very fun. And I really feel like Ray Parker Jr. sort of elicited that same feeling in the song. It's funny, it's a little silly, it's mysterious. He kind of threw a little bit of everything in there. And then same with the music video. And just the whole package just worked in of itself, because I mean, it's about guys who are hunting ghosts, come on. But it didn't take itself seriously. And just the whole thing, it was just a lot of fun. So I kind of put that one like right in the middle of my list.
No, that's brilliant actually, and it's a great one, and it's funny. Back around Halloween, Noelle at her dance class, she's doing hip hop dance now.
Oh, cool!
And their class starts with they do warm ups, and then up until recently, they would learn different hip hop steps. They play more contemporary hip hop music because that's what's big and out there now. And it's these kids, that's what they listen to on the radio or on their iPods or whatever. So, but around Halloween, her dance instructor decided it'd be kind of fun to do some Halloween-esque type of songs. And one of them was Ghostbusters. Now, I don't think my daughter had ever heard of it because we had never shown her Ghostbusters. We mentioned it before, but she'd never shown an interest in it or wanted to see it. She heard that, she liked the song. She said, "Daddy, when can I see Ghostbusters?" I was like, "Okay, you can see it." So we went and we watched Ghostbusters, and she enjoyed it. But and it was due to that song. I mean, as I said, we were willing to let her watch it because she's old enough. She's 9 years old, and we figure, if you want, just let us know when you want to watch it. And she just never really talked about it because we just mentioned these are the movies we are listing that we think you're old enough to see now. If you want to see one, let us know. We'll go see it. And Ghostbusters on there, and so she didn't show any interest until that dance class. And she's like, I want to see Ghostbusters, and now she loves it. And it's great. I feel great because she loves it. She uses it. Her favorite joke is the one Winston does is Ray, the next time someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. She says that one all the time. So yeah, and she sings that. There are times where you might hear her. When she's taking a shower, she's in the bathtub. I'm on the outside, just reading while she's the door's closed and she's doing it. I can hear her singing, and sometimes she sings the Ghostbusters theme. It's really cute. So Ghostbusters is a great one. And also on that same note, the score by Elmer Bernstein is also fantastic. Also, it's not on my list, but it's a very fun, goofy, kind of creepy-esque little it has everything that Ghostbusters is, and it is the definite epitome of what Ghostbusters is. So once again, that's a great one. The Elmer Bernstein's theme, it's dun, 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 dun. It's just so fantastic. I love it. So that's a good one. I like that one, Jerry. My number 5 is one that I am hitting myself that I didn't think of when I first wrote my ideas down for my top 10 list like a couple of weeks ago. And this was one of the ones I said I discovered on Friday is like, hell, I should have put that on there. And I put it at number 5 because it is hugely iconic. Again, used a lot in other films and TV shows. It's done by a composer who this year won his first Oscar. It's Sergio Leone's Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I didn't even think of that one. Yeah. Oh, and that's used a lot too.
Yeah, exactly.
In like comedies and here and there. Yeah, I didn't think of that one. Oh man.
And so it's such a great one, and I've always tried to. And there's more to it also because I remember. Don't judge me, but I like Jackass. I used to watch that on MTV, Johnny Knoxville, because there's something funny about seeing people get their asses handed to them of their own accord, run into things and bang and things. But at the same time, they did pranks and stuff like that. But they did one thing where they did a paintball, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly thing. And so they're like on the sand dunes or whatever, and they're riding on dune buggies, and then they're all wearing the flowing stuff that they were in the movie. And it has the music playing in the background. It just fit perfectly with everything. So,
that's funny.
But yeah, it's great. So good. I was like, why did I think of that before? It's because it's I tend to think more along the lines of stuff in my lifetime, the 80s. 70s, 80s, and 90s is the music I tend to think about more. And this was in the 60s. So, and it is iconic for that reason. So that's my number 5.
That is a great one. I can't believe I didn't think of that one. All right. My number 4 is one you already mentioned, and that's Harry Potter, The Boy Who Lived. And same reasons, just it became this huge epic story, movies, books, you name it. And the music was just so beautifully matched to the whole thing. You hear that beginning, dee, 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 and automatically it's Harry Potter. And yeah, definitely had to be on there. So number 4 for me.
Another good one in the Harry Potter one is one that is the one they play at the end, which is, you know, when they're saying goodbye, and then they lead into the theme that we all know. But it was like a nice, and then they what was neat about it is that they use the ending theme in the final scene in the final movie when it's 10 years, 20 years in the future, and you see them like that. And it's just such a good connection. But yes, you heard the dun, 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 and you know exactly what it is. And it's a shame that John Williams was only able to do 3 of the 8 movies. And nothing against the guys who did the other ones, but it's John Williams, for crying out loud. You know, he's the one who created the Harry Potter theme.
Yeah.
You know, and they used it occasionally. They used it occasionally, but then they put their own spin on it that wasn't quite as iconic. It still had the den 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 sound, but they tried to up it a few octaves or lower it. It just
make it darker as the story got darker too.
Yeah,
I guess, you know.
I guess so, but I kind of would like to see what John Williams would have done with that. But that's neither here nor there. This is another good one. This is from the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. Wow. Another one used all the time. Another one used in Mr. Mom, which was, you know, they tend to use, they use the crib a lot of these. And it automatically makes you think of one thing and one thing alone.
Oh, you went out. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, told you this would happen.
No, yeah, they are. Right as you were going to say it, it was going to tell you. It was
like, no, we can't let you do it. No, we can't let you tell them this.
Cliffhanger, like the little movie shorts. That was really funny how that happened.
Yeah, go into commercial. Find out what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now we're back. And I'll have to fix my thing in a second. But the thing everybody thinks of when they hear this song is some dude running up the steps of an art museum in Philadelphia and putting his hands up. It's the Rocky theme.
Yeah.
That one's by Bill Conti, is the composer of that one. And once again, it's dun, 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 you know, and then it builds and builds and builds as you know as he's you know, doing it, and it's the montage. It's the absolute best montage song you have ever heard. So every time they would play it, it would be a montage where Rocky's training, he's beating up the sides of beef, you know, or in you know, in some of the other ones, he's running through the snow or running up hills, or you know, and they always had a montage in the Rocky movies, and it's always, I don't think it was always the Rocky theme. It might have been one of the popular songs, like I think Eye of the Tiger might have been for the training sequence and number 3, but the thing is that it's so, once again, it's so iconic, and once again used all over the place. The Rocky theme in Mr. Mom was used when he's finally decided that he's tired of living the crappy life he was, you know, where he had letting his beard grow. He's getting fat, and he was, you know, flirting with the neighbor ladies and was being a horrible dad because he was basically he was depressed. And basically Terry Garr and him had a huge argument, and you know, they loved each other, which is, we talked about Mr. Mom before, and this gave him the urge to say, okay, I need to straighten myself up, or I might lose my wife who I love, you know? So that's when they do the montage. And so that's why I said it is such a great montage song, because he used it as his montage as he shaves his beard, you know, he starts losing weight, he starts exercising, he starts painting the fences and cleaning up the houses, and he's finally gotten into control of the kids. You know, he was unable to control the kids for the longest time. Now he's got them down precision. You know, he comes in and he blows his whistle and tells them to get their asses up, you know, and Terry Garr is tired because she's had a long day. She's like falling asleep in the shower. He opens the shower up and gives her food. He's like, come on, you gotta get moving, you know, like that. She's like, okay, I got it. Yeah. So it shows him changing from being at basically the pit of despair to coming back up. And it's a training montage, which is what Rocky uses it for. And that's why I have it as my number 4, because it is such a classic.
It's my number 3. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was right there. And again, you know, riles everybody up. It gets you going. I went to college in Philly, and of course, we've all done the song running up the Philadelphia Art Museum stairs. Everybody does it. Even if you're walking by, you will see even like strangers running up, and you know in their head what they're thinking and trying to make it all the way to it's actually hard to get all the way to the top step. It's a lot of stairs. But yeah, it's Rocky. Yeah, it's Rocky. And being Italian, it makes it even, it like, you know, gears us up even more. So
Isn't his statue there? Didn't they make a statue?
Yeah, it was.
At the top there?
No, it was at the art museum, and there was controversy because they're like, this is Hollywood and it's a movie and it's entertainment, so it shouldn't be like amongst fine art. So then they moved it in front of the Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
So over by where the sports stadiums are. Now, I think it's still there, but the Spectrum isn't the Spectrum anymore. Like, in the years past, they've knocked down, music venues and the stadiums and built new ones. But yeah, it's there somewhere. It's over by that whole area in South Philly.
Okay.
Because he was supposed to be from South Philly, so it kind of made more sense for it to be moved down there.
Yeah. And I can see it also because it is Hollywood, and there are lots of you got your Matisses and your Van Gogh.
Yeah, the art snobs are like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Art snobs. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They wouldn't put a statue of John Waters or anything up at the BMA, so we wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly.
So that's
Rocky is a great one.
Yeah, and my number 3 is James Bond. So we already talked about that also. So we just skipped number 3 entirely.
That's right.
Now we go number 2.
All right, my number 2 might surprise you because I wavered whether to make it 2 or 1, and I was like, all right, if I make it 1, I think it's just too obvious to be 1, even though it is spectacular and you already know what it is. But I was like, you know what? A different movie was a little bit closer to my heart for certain reasons, so I made it number 2. And of course, it's John Williams again, and it is Star Wars. Yes, so Star Wars did not make number 1 for me, but it's nothing against it. If I had known this little cheating business you did, I could have made a tie for number 1 and thrown something else in there, like good bad. Anyway, yeah. So Star Wars. I mean, what can you say about Star Wars? Come on, everybody knows the theme, and everyone knows that the words are going to start to scroll, and you're going to get to see Luke and Darth and Leia and Han, and it's Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I must be obvious because that's my number 1. So.
Yes, and I really did waver toward that. But I mean, it is a great song, and John Williams, I think that's like the best of everything that he's done. Yeah. Completely outdid himself. Yeah.
It is.
It's perfect. Yeah.
And again, it's used all over the place as well. You know what it is. All the Star Wars things, all the Star Wars commercials you see for their toys and games and stuff like that. And you hear it in your head whenever you read the books or the comics or whatever. You see that in your head. My number 2 is also by John Williams. Kind of a horror one also. It's Jaws, the Jaws theme.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
absolutely. Yeah.
Once again, and to be honest, I will be honest, that, as well as the fact that Spielberg had so much trouble with Bruce the Shark, is what made that movie a huge hit because, everyone knows the story that, they built a shark to, be the bad guy, but they were having all kinds of issues. Now, this is before Spielberg was huge. I don't think he even had one. He did, this is like his real first big movie. I think he had done Duel, and he did the Sugar something Express, and those were the only movies he did. So he had got the rights to Peter Benchley's Jaws, which was a book that came out in the 70s and was hugely popular. And so in a twist that no one ever saw, they decided that they would give this popular book that everybody loved to a young, unproven Not knowing. They had no idea what Steven Spielberg was going to do.
But that's the beauty, is they still did that back then. Nowadays, they won't do that. They'll give it to like the most popular, best. Anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
that's
fine. Please do. No, that's fine. That's why we're having a discussion. But so, he did it, and it is well documented how many problems he had on that film. And one of them was the fact that the shark was not cooperating. So what they decided to do was, Spielberg, showing his film knowledge, stuff like that, he decided, you know what, we gotta do something, because I don't want this movie to destroy my career before it even gets started. Yeah. So we got to do something. So we're gonna do old school. So we're gonna make it more of a build up and stuff like that. And I could just see him talking to John Williams, saying, "Hey, John, look, we're having problems with this thing. I need something that is going to, bring up fear and dread and make you think as soon as you hear it, shit's gonna go down." Right. And John Williams is like, "I got you, son. I got you." So John created the the Jaws theme that everybody knows, once again used all the time in various films. The pirate movie is a good example. The movie that basically is there that proved that Dawn and I belong together, but that's a different story for a different time. But that's used in that, and it's used in other stuff as well as a way to build dread and build coming. Something was coming,
Right.
And in the film, it was to you start hearing that theme, and something's going to happen, and then most of the time, and here's the funny thing, most of the time something did happen. You saw the fin, or you saw the shark come out, or he went to the stock footage he took, or whatever. But then there was a couple times where he got the music going, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to throw some curveballs in there.
Yeah.
To make because obviously, you hear that music and you're like, oh no, it's coming. And it's always funny, people who snark or make jokes about films or whatever. One of the funny things I've ever read, I don't remember where I read it. It was like, people were like yelling at the screen at Jaws, like, can't you hear the theme? The shark is coming, get out of the water. But no, you can't, because it's not really happening.
Right,
It's a theme for the movie. It's funny because the theme is so, that is so iconic, and it exudes something of fear and terror that, something's coming, but you don't know from where or when. And then as it builds, all of a sudden, oh shit, there it is, and then you're dead.
And then you're dead.
And what's your number one then?
All right, my number one is about a little boy who has to help an alien get home. And that is E.T. So like I said, I wavered, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make E.T. be the number one. It evokes just lots of memories from my childhood, but aside from that, the music is really great, and it's gentle, it's sensitive, and it matches the story. This little boy loves this alien, and of course E.T. has to go home, and it's a beautiful story, and it has beautiful music to go with it. So E.T. was my number one. And
what I always remember about that is when they were going to re-release it in theaters or like that, a lot of people didn't know they were going to do that, and so they did a commercial. And it's like a shot of the stars, and you don't know. The commercial starts just a shot of stars. You don't know what's going on. And then you hear the E.T. theme, and you're like, oh, is it going to be the sequel, or is it going to, and then as soon as you start hearing the E.T. theme, you're like, uh-oh, it's E.T., something cool. It's going to be a sequel, or they're going to re-release it or something. It's going to be a commercial about E.T. And and sure enough, it was. Yeah. And so,
the moon and silhouette and just everything about it. Yeah. So I made E.T. my number one.
And that's another good one also. Yeah. So and my number one obviously was Star Wars. You can if you want to, the Star Wars theme proper that we all know with the running scrolls and stuff like that, but you could also probably throw in the Imperial March as well as another really good theme, because you hear that.
I laugh because Lucas was a stormtrooper, my little one, for Halloween, but whenever he'd come in with it on, I'd do the Darth Vader, and he'd be like, "Stop it! Don't do that!" So that just reminds me. And he'd get all shy about it. And I'm like, "Well, you're a stormtrooper. What do you want?"
It's actually very funny. There's a series of books out there for kids, and it's drawn. The Vader's little princess and stuff like that.
Yeah. We have the boy one.
Yeah, my son has finally discovered them, and there's one. It's the most recent one. It's like Vader and Friends, and it's a cartoon of Darth Vader walking into the Mos Eisley Cantina, and the Mos Eisley Cantina band is playing the dan 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 dan, and then one of the people in the bar is like, they always play that stupid song when he comes in. So it is. So Star Wars is Star Wars, Imperial March. I mean, all those are good. Everything that we talked about is good. But as you can see, the person who had the most is John Williams. And I mean, we probably it's the hardest. It would be the hardest thing ever to do the top 10 John Williams themes, because he has so many of them that are so iconic. It would be really, really hard to do that. So I figure, throw some other ones in there. So, hey, you know what? About an hour in, and we're about 50 minutes in. Our first part is done. So let's take a break. And no, I'm just kidding. Let's not take a break. Let's keep going. So basically, maybe we can do this within 2 hours. Sweet.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, believe it or not. Because remember, well, we did more though. I think the last time we did a music one was our Christmas song one. That was like 20 or for each of us.
That was a
So
lot.
that was a lot. And I didn't think it was gonna be that
A
long.
lot of eggnog. Yeah.
It was fun though, yeah. But I just remember I was like, yeah, we can do 40. It'll be done in no time.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
You
talk
were
about the
very
music that
ambitious.
much. And then like 2.5 hours in, it was like, oh my God, we're only
We're
number
still
5.
going. Yeah.
But I think we did good. So those are the top movie themes and those who joined us. And we actually, I'm very proud to amount. We've had at one point 5 viewers. So this one's
nice.
getting drawn a lot of people. We got 4 right now. So thank you all for watching. The first part of the show is done. The second part now is we're doing the top 10 TV themes. Now, once again, I'm just going to go and tell you, I did all mine. No, I didn't double them up, Jerry. All mine, with the exception of maybe one of them, are instrumentals, and there are a lot that TV themes out there, theme songs that are hugely popular also, but I just wanted to focus on that. So Jerry, if you got all the ones that are regular theme songs, that's awesome too. I want to get as much a wide variety as well. So why don't we get your number 10 started then?
Okay, so mine's a mishmash. My number 10 was written by Joe Raposo, John Stone, and Bruce Hart, which are 3 names you probably aren't going to know, but it'll evoke your childhood, actually your little preschool childhood years, and that is the theme to Sesame Street. And what's the beauty of that is those 3 created the core theme, but as we all know, throughout the years, various artists have redone it or sung it like with their take, and that's kind of the beauty of it is this is a very universal song. It brings up, you think of all the Muppets when you hear it, and everybody remembers it. Most people, listen to it as kids, and Sesame Street.
That's a good one. That one and the Muppet Show would be 2 really good ones that you can that automatically bring you back to your childhood. This one is my number 10 is actually kind of interesting. It is the composer is an actual composer. John Philip Sousa. We all know John Philip Sousa. He did a piece called "The Liberty Bell," and in the 70s, a young group of British comedians decided that they were going to co-opt it for their little sketch show, a little show called Monty Python's Flying Circus. So y'all know that one's like yeah. So but it's what I find funny is that the Monty Python guys are all highly educated, and they said, you know what we're gonna do? For our little stupid comedy TV show, we're going to steal an actual piece of professional instrumental music, compositions from a very famous composer, and we're going to turn it into our stupid little theme song, and it worked. I mean, whenever you hear that,
it's very catchy.
It's very catchy, and it's one that probably Sousa is known for. He's known for a different one. It's like one that America uses for like 4th of July, I think. I can't remember.
Okay.
There's one that he is more famous for, but this, they were able to make it almost as popular as the other one. So that Sousa, outside of the classical music, people became more of a composer that people would be interested in.
Funny.
So,
yeah.
So the Liberty Bell, John Philip Sousa, co-opted by Monty Python's Flying Circus is my number 10.
Very nice. I like this start your list. So my number 9, before Tom Hanks became a very popular castaway, we had 7 others who were on TV, and they were Gilligan and his group, and it's the song Gilligan's Island. And actually, the song was called Gilligan's Isle, I-S-L-E, which when I was little, that always confused me, the Isle versus Island.
It's better for the rhyming.
Yeah. Because at the very end, Gilligan's Isle. No, it's Island. Anyway, it was written by Sherwood Schwartz and George Weil, so I'm sure one was lyrics, one was music, whatever. But great. Everybody knows Gilligan's Island and the tale.
Yeah, that would if I was going to focus on musical themes, I'd probably be in there too, as well as Sherwood's other one, the Brady Bunch, is another one that can populate. But Sherwood Schwartz was one of the the best TV producers and created some of the most iconic TV shows and themes as well. My number 9 is more of a more modern TV show, and I know you're a fan, and I know I'm a fan. It's The Walking Dead's theme. And I cannot stress how much Bear McCreary's music helps this show. I mean, the show is great on itself, but when you hear the themes, the songs, the music, the background song that evokes the thrill and the dread, but at the same time the sadness and stuff like that, he's able to show so much in an hour of TV show, and his music is there to just add that exclamation point to the show. And I don't think it would be quite as successful if Bear's music wasn't there. And it's such, there's this one theme from the first episode. It's not the main theme. The main theme is still popular, but there's this one theme that I use. I like to try every day whenever I get ready to go to bed. I like to play some piece of really nice instrumental music to say, hey, good night, I'm going to bed. And there's one that I always use of Bear's that was used in the first episode ever of The Walking Dead, which is the one near the end of end of the first half anyway, where Rick is, finally all cleaned up and he's moving on and he's walking and he sees the half woman zombie crawling, and it's called the Mercy of the Living or something like that. And it's just such a quiet, wonderful. I almost want to play it because it is so great. But while I'm looking for it real quick, the theme song for Walking Dead though is exactly what you want. Yes. It's intense. It's fast. It's and it builds up. There's all and then with the interspersing of all the creepy pictures of the zombies and the people who are still around, stuff like that. So it's great. So let me see if I can get this going now. It's a very, this isn't a theme song. This is the one piece I was talking about that this evokes, Rick sees this half woman zombie who's crawling across the grass, and he feels sorry for her because she's half a zombie, but and she's dead, dragging herself. And so he goes up and he says something like, I'm sorry, and ends up killing her, shooting her in the head and putting her out of her misery. And I absolutely just love that. I play that all the time, for my good nights and stuff like that. But that's just part of it. So you got that quietness, and then you've got the theme, which is my number 9, which is that, and then he can go from getting really intense and crazy and scary to those more quieter things. And they always add that little emotional core, like when Beth died, he added that little quiet, nice, sad theme, and it almost maybe brought tears to your eyes. No matter how much you felt about, you might not have liked Beth or whatever, the fact that you see Maggie's reaction, you see Daryl carrying the dead body out, and the way that Bear does his music, it evokes that sadness out of you, even if you might not have liked the character. So that's my number 9. Wow. Real quick, before you do yours, I just want to say John McGevna, who's watching, thank you guys. One of his is Route 66 by Nelson Riddle.
Oh, that's a great song.
Todd and Buzz driving around the country in their vet having adventures. So yeah, that's a good one to bring out there, John. Thank you. So Geri, you're number 8, right?
Wow, yeah, my number 8. Gosh, after you did that whole Walking Dead. Stupid.
No.
Mine are all older when I'm looking at this list now. Wow, I was in a totally different mindset. But my number 8 was by a man named Vic Mizzy. And he is the one who got everybody snapping. And that was the Addams Family theme song. Yeah, they're kooky, they're quirky, and the song is kooky and quirky. And again, it's very similar to like a Ghostbusters feel where the music or the theme song matches perfectly with this funny sitcom about this very dark but very silly family, what they're all about.
Well, no, it's not bad, because once again, The Walking Dead theme song might not have the iconic quality yet that a Addams Family does, because that and as you could just play that beginning piece and maybe no one who's ever been a real big fan of the Addams Family, never really watched it, they will snap because they know the song. It's so
when we were growing up, do you remember there was a game show called Name That Tune? And you would bet each other how many notes you could name a song in. So that's one where it's like, give me 4 notes, and they'd be da-da-da-da, and they'd know it was Addams Family.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to. I keep getting. I'm trying to move. There we go. I wasn't comfortable. I had to move there for a second, and I don't know which way it is because I'm looking at myself reverse. I was like, okay, do I need to go this way? I don't know. But no, it's not bad. I mean, my number 8 is has a old version and a new version, and it's a Doctor Who theme.
Oh, cool.
It's basically the same thing. And if you would play like that song on, like name that tune, and maybe not so much in America so much, but in England, they would know it in 2 seconds flat. It's very perfect for it. It's like a it's a sci-fi type of thing. And then when they rebooted the show in the 2004, they didn't want to get rid of the theme song, but they wanted to update it a little bit. So they update a little bit, but they kept the same general music into it. So the Doctor Who theme, I have 2 names. I think the first one is the one who did the older version, which is Ron Grenier. Okay. And I think the second name they had on the list is the one who did the updated version, which is slightly different than the older version, but it's still the same basic thing. And that's Eric Winstone. So those are the 2, or they could have both worked on it and then they've just updated it on their own. I don't know. So that's my number 8.
Nice. All right. My number 7 is pretty iconic, and it's by someone named Lalo Schifrin.
Schifrin.
Oh, you know who it is. Yeah, so you know what it is. And it's from the TV show, not from Tom Cruise, and it's Mission Impossible, because I don't like Tom Cruise. But I remember being little and my father watching it, and you would hang out, hear the theme song, and then be like, yeah, I'm not watching this, and go in another room and play. But that's kind of what it evoked for me.
No, and once again, that's an iconic one also. And that's one that, now I think about it, that should have been on my list also, but I didn't make it on there. But it is. It's another one of those dun, 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 dun.
Yep. And everybody does it, like, yeah. Or you're cleaning, or you have to go do something. Like, it's my mission. Yeah.
My favorite is the doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo.
It comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
But
so it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, and once again, it's they steal it and they put it in.
Oh yeah.
My favorite use of it is in the original TV series. One of the stars of it was Peter Graves.
Yes.
And he was in the Airplane movies. And in Airplane 2, there's a storyline where a evil computer has taken over the flying of the space shuttle. So he is flying them into the sun. So he's the pilot. He's got to figure out a way to get back control of the spaceship. So they found out that one of the people on the plane had a bomb. So they got the bomb from him. They're going to blow up the computer. And then he'll be able to take it over and fly it. So Peter Graves is the one that says he'll set the bomb up. So when he's setting the bomb up, you start hearing the Mission Impossible. It's a funny little connection. And of course, the computer becomes, aware of what's going on and ends up gassing him. And so he ends right when it's like, da-da-da, the very end of the song, he gets gassed and he falls down. And so the computer's still in control, and they end up, stopping it. But it's just so funny because Peter Graves was the main star of the Mission Impossible show in the 60s and 70s, and now they use it again in the sequel to Airplane, which is
and that's cool that he did that. Yeah.
Just as good as the first one. For those who've never seen Airplane 2, Airplane is still might be the funniest movie ever, but Airplane 2 is a close second. Yes, it's a very it's basically doing the same movie, but there's a lot more. There's funnier jokes. There's some other really, really good jokes, and it has William Shatner in it. You gotta love that as well. So, who's making fun of his Captain Kirk persona? It is so great. My number 7 was the 1980s were a weird decade, I should say, where something like this could become a huge hit. And it's the theme song to Miami Vice. Jan Hammer.
That's on my list.
It is once again, it's a very iconic theme, but it's also a very 1980s theme.
Oh yeah.
You really,
It like screams neon, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
neon, and it fit exactly for what it was supposed to do. I mean, Miami Vice, it was supposed to be. It's Miami. It's neon. It's guys, you know, with 5 o'clock shadows, wearing pastel colors, you know, and being so cool, you know, and beating up bad guys, and there's drugs and women in bikinis and fast cars, and it's so great. And Miami Vice was one of those films and one of those TV shows that it took advantage of its decade. It used the music of the decade to, you know, make it, you know, very popular. Like, I remember there was the one episode, it might have been the first episode, where they used Phil Collins in the air tonight was as a huge, you know, stuff like that. So they would use these popular songs in the 80s to add a little emphasis to it. But on top of it, you still had Jan Hammer's score, and he also his score was like on the Billboard, topped in the Billboard, and there was another, and then there was Crockett's theme also, which also is a different theme than the Miami Vice theme, but it also hit the Billboard charts and was very popular also, and both of them are really good. I got to dig up Crockett's theme again, because it's one of those, again, very 1980s. But it's not as, you know, the Miami Vice one is more action-packed, adrenaline rush, whereas Crockett's theme is more of a insightful, you know, thinking about type of thing when you're trying to get an idea about Crockett's character. So, but again, Jan Hammer being, I guess he was from Austria or one of those, you know, Norway, one of those Norwegian countries up there. He came to America, and he used his, you know, his love for that kind of stuff, and it was great. It was perfect. Awesome. Before you go on real quick, our friend Leo McAllister, the theme song to I Love Lucy, back in my day, that was TV. So, which is true. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So thank you, Leo. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're still alive. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is from 1966. And that's the only version of it that I like, aside from what you were saying about the movie and Danny Elfman and all of that. But it is the Batman theme by Neil Hefti from 1966. And again, Camp City matches the show, the feel, did not take itself seriously at all. And it was just, they had fun. They knew they were having fun. It was a paycheck, and let's just go and be silly and be heroes. And I mean, it's the whole package. Yeah, Batman. I don't even know what to say about it. It's Batman.
It's actually a little higher on my list, and I know I said instrumental, but at the same time, it only has like 2 lyrics.
Yeah.
Batman, na 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 Batman, na 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 Batman. You know, that's all it is. But I mean, basically, and then it's yeah, it's just but yeah. It's
you hear that, and you know the Batmobile's going to come out of the Batcave, and
and then the pow, bam.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a comic book guy, and maybe when I was in my teenage years, I might have joined the crowd and said, "Oh, that was so stupid. No, Batman's not like that at all." But I watched the show. I enjoyed the show immensely. I loved the characters. I loved the actors. I mean, Adam West and Burt Ward, you know, you can't say so much about them. They were having a blast. They were having so much fun, especially Adam West. He was having a huge blast. He loved being Batman. And then you got the villains. You know, I've never been a big fan of the Joker, but Cesar Romero as a Joker was fantastic. He was everybody's why people are afraid of clowns before it came out. You know, he had the clown face and the lipsticks, and he's like, he's got that iconic laugh, you know, and the frizzy hair, but he wasn't terrifying. He was just kind of goofy, but at the same time, he would come up with some of the best death traps to kill Batman, and then, you know, but he never really went way psychotic, and he didn't want that. You know, Burgess Meredith's Penguin, Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, and then the multitude of women who played Catwoman. You know, all of them were good.
Yes.
You know, and then you've got Vincent Price as Eggman, who wasn't even a villain in the Batman comics. You got Vincent Price. You got Vincent Price to have like a pale white on. He's in a giant egg, and it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I have a, now that I'm older, I have a much bigger respect for the show. Mm-hmm. And actually, it's funny. Dawn usually just finds stuff for me for Christmas. I no longer write lists for Christmas, and she just finds stuff for me and gives them to me. She got me these action figures that are Batman 1966 version. So I've got a Batman. I've got a Batman action figure that you can take the cowl off, and you have the Bruce Wayne, and you have like a suit you can put over the Batman suit, so he can be Bruce Wayne, and then he can be Batman again. And I think there was I might have even had a Burt Ward Robin, but they're the way the action figures are done, they're cut out and sculpted exactly like how Adam West and Burt Ward did. So it's great. And you know what? You know, a lot of people do like this series still because one of the more popular DC comics is Batman 66. They've actually done a comic book that follows the continuing adventures of Adam West, Batman, and Burt Ward, and using all the characters. What they've done though is they've kept the tongue-in-cheek, goofy stuff, but then they've added some of the more recent Batman villains that have been in Batman, the proper Batman, and see how they would turn him into like a 1960s villain, like making like a Bane into like a 1960s type of, and it's really neat. It's really kind of cool. Yeah. So, and then at the same time, you can have them, like Kevin Smith wrote a team up with the 1966 Batman and the Green Hornet, which was a character that was had a similar show, movie thing, whatever, that was very similar to Batman. And they did a miniseries with the two of them, but it had that same 1960s feel to it. They also did like a Batman and the Man from U.N.C.L.E., that type of thing. So they're able to do these crossovers with like some of these other 1960s properties. So
awesome.
It's up higher on my list. I'll let you know where it pops up. I know what you're going to do now. You're going to roll your eyes at me with my number 6. I already know it. And you probably know what I'm going to say. My number 6 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yes, Geri is well versed in my love for Sarah Michelle Gellar, but that's not the only reason why I did it. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of the greatest TV shows of the 1990s. Yes, we know. But what's great about it was you get the theme song played by a heavy metal band called Nerf Herder. And maybe even closer to a punk rock band, and it's just heavy guitars, and and it just fits exactly with what the spirit of the show is. So my number 6 is Buffy. All right, you stop shaking your head at me.
Wow, that was really quick for you. That was like quicker than my stuff.
Moving along now.
Yeah. Well, my number 5 is very obvious, and that's why it's right in the middle. My number 5s are always very deliberately number 5s, and that is the Brady Bunch. Everybody in the entire world knows the Brady Bunch. It doesn't matter what your walk of life is. You've got the 3 boys, the 3 girls, Carol and Mike Brady, and it's the Brady Bunch, Everybody loves the Brady Bunch, and everybody can pull from their stories. And the song is silly and fun and goofy, and it's about everybody's favorite family, the Brady Bunch.
And it basically gives you everything you need to know about the show and the lyric. And that's sometimes that's kind of good, because if you've never ever watched the show or whatever and you don't know anything about it, I know that's impossible. I'm just saying hypothetically, and the show starts. Well, there you go. You got all the exposition.
That's right.
There's a guy, he has 3 sons. There's a woman, has 3 daughters. They got married. They became a blended family, and then they have Alice the maid.
She does everything.
and what's great is that you have the blended family, and they treat each other like brothers and sisters. Like they'd known each other their whole lives. And then it was funny. Then when they did the Brady Bunch movies, they added a little Esquire thing. It's like, well, technically they're not related, so you could have a relationship between the 2 of them. So that was kind of creepy. That was funny. But it was funny though.
I bet you that happens too sometimes,
Yeah, I bet you it does too.
Anyway, that's for our inside show.
Unfortunately, I will never know. I only have a step brother, so he's getting married next year. So so that's all right.
You won't be exploring that.
No, I won't. My number 5 is another more recent one, late 90s, early 2000s, and recently popped back up on television. It's the X-Files.
Oh yeah, that's a great
composed by Mark Snow. Mark Snow is the composer of it, and once again, it's iconic for mid '90s because it came out when I was still in college, so it was in mid '90s. So well, not mid '90s, early '90s, 30, 93, 94, somewhere around there. And lasted 10 seasons, or was it 11? 10 or it was 10 seasons, I think it lasted. So fairly successful. And then they had the reboot, the 6-episode reboot they just did this year. I watched the first episode; it was okay, and then I recorded the other ones. Never watched because it was on at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, and that's kiddie bedtime. So
that was a hard time slot.
It was, and then so I haven't watched them yet, but I've read people's reactions. So they said that it's sort of uneven. The last couple episodes are crappy, but there's one really good one, which is the one written by Darren Morgan.
Is that the one with the alien and
the were monster? That was
the monster
one. Yeah, so that was a good one. So
it was an alien.
Yeah, but the X-Files though has always been a major part, not a major part, but it's you hear the theme and it takes me back to my college days where my friends and I would, when they first came out, it was on a Friday night. My friends and I would hang out in my dorm room and we'd watch the X-Files. It was on 9 o'clock, so college kids, that's early.
Right. That's so before going out.
Yeah, exactly. So you watch the X-Files, and then you can stay in and get drunk. You can get drunk while watching the X-Files, or you can go out to one of the parties, parties up there, because that's what college kids do. Yes, everybody out there, that's what college kids do. Yes, they do learn. Yes, they do learn stuff, but you also, once in a while, but there's lots of partying. Yes, there is. There's nothing you can do about it to stop it. I'm sorry, there really isn't. So you can try, but it ain't gonna happen. So it's a great one, and Mark Snow's score itself is just as iconic. All the different themes, stuff like that. Much like Bear McCreary's, the score helps emphasize certain points. He probably created, it blends so well together that he's probably created a Mulder theme and a Scully theme, and I couldn't tell you what they are because it just melds so good together, and it takes it out there. So it sets up the film as well. Not as good, or the TV series, not as good as the Brady Bunch where you get the exposition, but you get it's a creepy type of creepy. You know that you're in for something creepy when you hear the theme song. That it's not something that's going to be light and happy and fun. It's going to be kind of creepy a little bit. So that's my my number 5.
Okay, my number 4 is, I think it was like late 70s into the 80s. So it's an older sitcom, and it was about an African American family who moved on up. And that is the Jeffersons. Now, something funny is it's called Moving On Up, the song, and it was sung by Janet Dubois. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she was Walona on Good Times. She was, Florida's best friend. She sang the theme song to the Jeffersons, which I discovered upon researching and all of that. So I thought that was a really cool connection. So
that is kind of cool.
And again, the song tells the story. It sort of leaves off, like when the song ends, then you see the continuation of their lives. George Jefferson was, from Harlem, and had all his dry cleaning stores, and just, built his own little dry cleaning empire up. So he moved on up. They live in the penthouse in the sky, and then you get to know about this family and their lives and the goings on of their life. And of course, they have to have the sassy maid, Flo, right? Florence, is that her name? Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
It was a really great show, and just the song kind of got you going and got you in the mood for, lots of funny things from George Hemsley, who played George Jefferson.
Exactly. So
Sherman Hemsley.
Oh,
I'm wrong. Sherman Hemsley. Yeah, sorry.
But still, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Another good show during that time, which I'm surprised actually didn't make it on my top TV themes, and kind of surprising myself now because it was one of my favorite shows, was What's Happening.
Yes, with reruns.
Yeah, there was rerun, all that sort of similar to that. But yeah, Good Times, Jeffersons, all those had really great theme songs for the time, even Different Strokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That early 80s, up mid to mid upper 80s, had a really, they were like the maybe almost you could say the renaissance of theme songs, because they were, so great. They were so catchy and stuff like that. It was amazing. So yeah, that's a good one too. My number 4 is one of the longest running and most popular TV shows. And it's one I remember from my childhood. I didn't watch it as much when I was younger as I got older because it was a bit of a more intense show. MASH.
Oh yeah.
Actually, what I discovered on my research is when I was trying to figure out who did the composing, it's Johnny Mandel. It's based on a song. There's an actual song called "Suicide is Painless." Yes, "Suicide is Painless." And what the MASH TV show did, first of all, MASH is based on a movie. Robert Altman did the movie MASH, had Donald Sutherland in it. And there's another famous actor, and I can't think right now, but Donald Sutherland I remember most of all. He was in it. And then it was popular, so they decided to turn it into a TV show with Alan Alda and Harry Morgan, and we all know about that because I think everybody in the world has maybe seen MASH at least once.
Sure.
Because it was, up until recently, one of the longest running TV shows. I think it's still up there with its final episode is still, I think, the most watched final episode of a TV show ever. I think even bypassing Seinfeld and the Friends and all that stuff. I think it just, if you add you really can't add inflation, I guess, because it was 83 was when it ended, but the numbers were at that time huge because remember 1983 cable was just starting, it was still, and there was still 3 networks. Fox didn't come out till the late 80s. So there's still just the 3 networks and PBS obviously,
right.
And so you only had a little bit of TV to watch, and in a show like MASH, which is hugely popular, when they decided to end the series, it's still to this day it was still the most watched, I think, season finale ever. I mean, not series finale ever.
Right.
And at the time it was in the 100,000 viewers or 100 million viewers or something like that. It was, I think at one time they said that 60% of the TVs in America in 1983 were watching the MASH finale, which is astronomical if you think about it, with the way from 83 to 2016 how multiple TVs have grown, and cable and all that stuff. It's still something that people aspire to. They want to have that huge ending, and it was a huge ending. But and MASH is one of those shows that was able to carry pathos and drama with comedy and meld it almost perfectly. And not almost, I think it was perfect. They did it. They would have their really silly stuff, but let's remember it's a sitcom about war, and it's not really a sitcom because it didn't have the quite sitcom-y thing where it wasn't one set and they didn't have multiple cameras. Yes, they had a laugh track, which was kind of bizarre. I think they added that afterwards because they filmed a lot of stuff out in the exteriors. I think it was like in the Valley of California, whatever, to make it look like Korea. And and it was one of those that it took a look at war and the plus sides of war and the bad sides of war. And MASH is still one of those shows that is important in the era of television. And the theme song is, it adds sort of, it's more of a depressing theme for the show, even though the show could be really funny at certain points, but it at the same time it's still a show about war, so you got to have that kind of a depressing feel. And obviously it being a part of the song "Suicide is Painless" itself is a depressing title for a song anyway. So but in the end it's still iconic. You hear it, you know exactly where it is. And MASH is my number 4.
Yeah, it's a very real theme song, because it's life. It's about life and every emotion that gets evoked in living life and dealing with life. And I think the song, beautifully marries all of that and all the little stories of each character. Yeah, it's a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was Elliot Gould was the other one. Elliot Gould
that's right. Yes.
And Donald Sutherland were in the MASH movie. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, all great actors. My number 3 is by Morton Stevens, And as soon as you hear it, you want to get on your surfboard and get on a wave. And it got rebooted. I think it's still on, right? The reboot.
It is.
I know my little cousins love it.
But
it's so awesome. Yeah.
It's going near the end though. They're thinking that this might be the last season, but they might give them one more to. But go.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm thinking of like the old school, the original, and that is Hawaii 5-0. Yes.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm surprised it didn't make my list again. That's another good one. It's another one everyone knows. It's iconic. It makes you think of the beach and surf music and stuff like that. It's it's fantastic. My number 3 is now the theme song to the longest running TV show in history, The Simpsons. Once again, written by Danny Elfman.
Yes.
But once again, it's you know exactly what it is when you hear it. It's it's a very quick because they have the whole opening couch gag. I mean, when it first came out, there was a whole lot of stuff that went into it. They went into Springfield. You see Springfield. You see Bart's in trouble. He's writing stuff. So you get an idea. Okay, Bart's the bad kid. He was in school. He was writing. Yeah. But the joke is that the chalkboard is always something different he's writing. And then he leaves. And then you've got Lisa, who is his sister, who is the A+, good student. She's playing the saxophone, and she's smart, but at the same time, she loves her music. She goes off, with the saxophone solo as she leaves. Then you meet Homer, who is the dad. Actually, Homer might have been first before Bart is, and then maybe Homer might be in there somewhere. But you see him leave his work, and he works in a nuclear facility, and you see he's stupid because he's got a nuclear rod on his back, and he throws it out, basically poisoning his whole town. And then you see Marge, and Maggie, the baby, and you can see that Marge is the harried mother who runs the household, and she's out, grocery shopping, and she doesn't pay attention because she's so busy that Maggie gets bagged up in the groceries. So once again, you're getting an idea of what these characters are like before you actually see the show. And then they come back to their house and they have the couch gag where they run in and something different is in there. But sometimes they skip all that and just do the chalkboard gag and then maybe the couch gag, and that might be about it, depending on how long the episode is. But still, it's a small snippet of a theme song, but it's a show that's been around since, 87, 88? And it's still on. So we're talking, I think they're getting close to like their 400th episode or something like that. That's unheard of in the history of television. So people know what it is. It's been around 20 plus years. The Simpsons, and the theme song is once again fairly iconic. So that's my number 3.
All right. Well, my number 2, you already discussed. It's Miami Vice. And I'm just going to add R.I.P. Glenn Fry, because he had That You Belong in the City. That was a big part. Like, there was the theme song, but then that song was actually played a lot throughout different episodes with with him singing and or as an instrumental, as various maybe tense parts of the storyline were going on. But everything that you had to say about it, 80s, neon, girls, detectives, get the bad guy, drug dealers. That's why it's my number 2, because it's just it was the whole package again. I keep saying.
And my number 2, you already discussed Batman 6. Not much more I can add to that. We discussed it pretty good. It's up there. I added it as number 2 because it's nana Batman. You know exactly what it is. As soon as someone says nana, you know exactly where it's going. So, and you're number 1.
My number 1, it's from the 80s. A lot of my things are old. My gosh, when I'm looking at this list, it evokes power, sex, relationships, oil, tycoons, cutthroat, and that is Dallas.
Nice.
Which they did attempt to do a reboot of it a few years ago, and it did okay, but then Larry Hagman died, and then this sort of was like, if JR dies, you can't really continue on without him. But I mean, it was very all-encompassing in the 80s when it was out. And the storyline actually carried into real life when, the big cliffhanger was JR getting shot. And I mean, you literally would be driving down the road and there'd be "Who Shot JR" billboards out there, and it would be in magazines and newspapers and on the actual news. And it sort of was cool how it sort of spilled over into real life, and then real life spilled back into this television show. So that's the reason why I made it my number 1. And then everybody knows the song and the images of Texas and of Dallas, and And that's
how people in other countries pretty much view the United States as Dallas. They think that's one of the places, like watching some English sitcoms, like Are You Being Served, which is one of those in the 80s and 70s, which was around the time of the Dallas and stuff like that. Their view of what Americans would be like are that Americans are all cowboys. So they would have cowboy hats on and bolo ties, and they'd be bigger than life and stuff like that. And let's face it, at the time Ronald Reagan was president, he was sort of similar to that, sort of like that. Jimmy Carter was Southern, so he sort of had that little thing going on too. But that's where they got it from, was from Dallas. So yes, it was such a all-encompassing. And then yes, that Who Shot JR was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I would have loved to see what it would have been like during the social media era. I mean, I know they tried to do it. I think, didn't they try to do it again in the new series? They had him get shot again, and they tried to make it a big mystery or whatever. But it wasn't quite the same. This was something you'd never seen before. And I would have just loved to see how people would they would be watching the episode over and over again. It's like, oh, I think it's this person because of this, and they'd have all these theories. And people say, no, you're stupid. It's this person. But it was huge. But this was before social media,
right? And repeats. So there's actually a beauty in that you watched it that one time, and then you had to wait 3 months before shows would come back on again. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, it was it was such build to a crescendo that it was huge. That the season premiere was huge. I think I never really watched Dallas that much, but when they were talking about the Who Shot JR, and it was all over the place. I mean, I think it maybe even made it on the cover of Time magazine, which was insane.
I think it did. Yeah,
which is absolutely insane. But it makes sense because it was such a huge event, and I had to watch the season premiere to see who shot him, even though I really didn't know much about the series itself. I mean, I knew the bits and pieces about it, and I knew what was going on, but you had that period where if you might not have known what was going on, you would read all about this Who Shot JR, and you'd see it all over the place. So eventually you'd be, let me read about this, see what's going on with that. So we watched the premiere. I remember that. And I also remember it was Kristen, I think. And I remember that because I had a girl in school. Her name was Kristen, and she got teased about that, after the reveal about that. So it was just poor Kristen.
Yeah, poor Kristen. She should have shot JR.
My number one is because I'm a big sci-fi nerd, and I have to have Star Wars is my number one in the movie, so I have to have its opposite on television, Star Trek. As my number one.
It's a great theme song. Yeah.
The Star Trek, yes, is movies. Yes, there are Star Trek movies, but the theme itself is not really a big part of the movie so much as it is the theme, And then when Star Trek: The Next Generation came out, they did a variation of the theme. It was not quite the same, but it's the the whole voiceover by William Shatner. These are the journeys of your starship, dun, 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 that type of stuff. So they would go ahead and it would build to that, the theme, and then it's so iconic. Also, it once again it screams outer space exploration. Action, adventure, aliens, craziness. Yeah. And then they did do a similar version of it with Star Trek Next Generation and updated it for like the 1980s. 1987 was when it came out. It wasn't, It was a little bit longer because the initial Star Trek theme wasn't as long, but it's and so it built up to everything. So to me, the Star Trek theme, the writer of it is Alexander Courage, and he was the one who wrote the theme. So it's to me, I didn't put it in my movie themes because it really did not appear all that much in the movies. I think whenever you maybe showed the Enterprise, it might have been the first couple notes of it or the beginning of the movie, but it wasn't quite like you would see it every week at the beginning of the movie or the TV show, and then at the end of the TV show, it did it again. So you were bookended by these by the theme. So my number one is Star Trek.
Awesome. And I'm sorry, I was just going to say that Dallas was written by Gerald Emmel. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I just want to kind of give him or her credit.
The credit for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got a couple people on social media. John McGivney, again, who told us about Route 66. He said from the 50s and 60s, some of his favorite themes are Peter Gunn, used in 16 Candles also.
Yes.
Rawhide, the joke from the Blues Brothers. Yeah, the joke from the Blues Brothers also. Give it up, Rawhide. Have Gun Will Travel. I don't really know that one too much, John. Sorry, I can't believe we missed this one.
Dragnet, yes. There's a ton. There really is.
The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I considered that one. Yeah.
And 77 Sunset Strip, and then Laura Norman said, "Where's the Olympic theme?" Okay. I can see that, Laura. The Olympics have their typical dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Laura, until recently, that was every 4 years. You didn't really hear
global.
it. It is global, and it is a TV theme because they show it, and it is a theme that is an iconic theme. The Olympic theme is iconic, and but the thing is, and then the thing is, just no matter where, if it's Winter Olympics or Summer Olympics, or if it's in America or Korea or Japan or Russia or wherever, they will have that as the theme when you're watching the TV show. So I could see that, but that's more of a event song, Laura, where the TV themes are ones you would hear basically every week during the show. But no, it's a good one. It is a good iconic theme because everybody knows the Olympic theme. And once again, it's that time of the year again. Yeah, and actually it is. I think it's summer. It's summer this year. Yeah, the Rio. Because now they do it every 2 years. So, but they alternate. So this year is going to be the Summer Olympics, and 2018 maybe is going to be the Winter Olympics, and then 2020 will be summer, 2022. So it's still 4 years for each Olympics, but instead of it being, which is once again
all 1 year.
Exactly. That still blew my mind because you had. It basically takes 10 days, maybe longer, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to do all the Olympics. And they would block those out during the winter and during the summer. And so it would just be the Olympics and you would have both of them at the same time. That's crazy. So, so I think that was a good show and not as long as our Christmas one. So I want to thank everybody who came in and mentioned stuff to us. It's a pleasure to have you guys. It's one of the things I like to do. I like to hear from other people to see what they have to say. So make sure there's nothing else. Nope, nobody else in here. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. What is this? Oh, no. No, Dawn sent me a picture. She's taking Noelle has a Girl Scouts today, and they have an event at Bass Pro Shops at Arundel Mills. And you have the Bass Pro Shops, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. For those, it's a huge store and all kinds of cool stuff. Well, it's a Girl Scout event, but Noah is with them because they're going down to my in-laws, Dawn's parents.
A surprise party, right?
Yeah, my father-in-law's birthday is on Tuesday, but they're having a party for him today. To be a good boy, and as she says, for being such a good sport, as a bribe, she bought him like a little gun type of thing.
Okay,
it's cute. It's like a wood little gun thing. It's kind of cool. So, yeah, so that's good. So that's fine.
Sometimes you gotta throw them a bone, especially the youngest ones.
Exactly. Yeah. So so that was a good show. So that was fun. We still don't know what we're going to do next month yet, and or date and time. We'll work it out. But as I said, Geri and I we were always contact each other, and we'll work things out for the next show, and we'll let you guys know when it's coming up. So that's it for today's show. As I said earlier at the show, if you guys weren't on before, because I had like 0 viewers when we started, we're down to 3 now, which is great. At one point we had 5 today, so I want to thank everybody out there who was watching.
That's great.
That's great. I do appreciate that. We appreciate that. I will be doing, since next Sunday is Easter, I will not be doing a show on Easter Sunday. I will not be in Baltimore. I'll actually be down at my in-laws' house for Easter. And so we're going to be leaving Saturday. We're going to spend the night, Saturday night into Sunday. So I won't be doing it on Saturday either. So because we've got something going on in the morning, so I can't do it in the morning. Another Girl Scout event, but it's kind of cool. Up here in Reisterstown, we have a classic Main Street. Reisterstown is one of the oldest cities in the United States, and we have a classical Main Street, all buildings that have been repurposed into antique stores and restaurants, stuff like that. We're doing something called the Main Street Egg Extravaganza for Easter. And the Easter Bunny will be around, and I think all the stores might have like baskets of Easter eggs for kids to walk around and take, and they'll have candy or gifts or money or whatever, pennies, you know, whatever they feel like doing in there. So Noelle's Girl Scout group is going to be doing something for the Main Street early morning on Saturday, and I'll probably take Noah because it's a family event, so everybody can go up and down. We do it at Halloween also, which is really cool. We do a trick or treat where we trick or treat to all the stores, and they give stuff to us. It's really neat. So we got that going on. We also have the Peeps competition, which is really neat. You know, the Peeps candies. People actually make like dioramas. You know, awesome. Like they might have like a Peep teacher, teaching Peep bunnies or something like that. And so it's really neat. So that's at our local library.
You should make one.
I should. I think I missed it this year. The cutoff, I think, was last week. Okay. But I think maybe next year. It's neat because you glue it on there and you make something really cool. Yeah. Like I could do one of you and I could be
That's
like
right.
Rabbit with this.
Like the screen in between. Yeah,
exactly. There you go. That'd be neat. So, so I will probably be doing a show Friday night on Good Friday. It'll just be me solo because it's Easter weekend. I don't want to get anybody else. You know, inconvenience them or whatever because of their holiday plans. So I'll probably talk in Easter stuff, memories and stuff like that, or whatever I feel like, you know, if anything exciting or weird happens this week as possible. So, so we'll see. And maybe, you know what, the kids are off that Friday. We might go see Zootopia. Maybe I can do a review of Zootopia then and let people know. Because I have, you said it's great. So that'll be good. So, on that note, I want to wish you all happy Easter. You too, Geri.
Happy Easter to you and to everyone out there.
Yep. And I'll be back on Friday night, probably. If it changes, I will let you know. But right now, it looks like Friday night, 9 o'clock-ish, okay? On that note, I will say toodaloo, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.